So yes, Selma has a meeting. So I'm aiming to finish this by 11:45.
Yeah. So what can we talk about? Let's just throw some ideas.
Well, I have the questions here and people are already starting to enter the room. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of the Bamboo Boot Camp. We are excited to have you here. We're very, very excited. If you attended yesterday's sessions, let us know. You can put it in the chat. Let us know if you learned anything new. Also, we are running two very exciting promotions or campaigns, you'd say. If you trade this week, during the Bamboo Boot Camp, you have the chance to either win $2,000, $1,000, or $500. So the more you trade, the more your chances of winning. And also, if you make your first deposit during the Bamboo Boot Camp, you have a chance to win a gift box from us. So get trading, get depositing. We're going to start very soon in about a minute. We're going to wait for a couple of more people to enter the room, and then we'll get started.
Good morning, Selma.
Good morning, everyone.
What time is
it? Now in Tunisia, it's 11. We're in the same time zone now, no?
Cool.
Okay, just one more minute for people to come in, get settled. All right, I think we can get started. So welcome once again, everybody, to another session of the Bamboo Bootcamp. My name is Diola and I'll be your moderator for today. Today, we're going to be discussing how to create wealth by solving difficult problems. And for today's session, we have our founder, our co-founder and CEO, Richmond Bassey. And we also have the founder and partner of Ventures Owen, Selma Ribica. I'm so excited to talk to everybody today. So Richmond, the first question goes to you. What makes a good, difficult problem to solve?
What makes a good, difficult problem? Yeah, it's a bit of a good, difficult problem to solve. I'd say that, a problem can be a fundamental or in that and a complex problem can be one that is maybe you have a site or resolve or when you need change behavior, changing policies. So what makes a good complex problem to solve, I would say, is one that affects a lot of people, as well that one that problem solved.
Richmond, we are just not hearing you very well. There is a little bit of patching there. I don't know if you have an alternative Wi-Fi to switch on to.
Can you hear me better now?
Now it's better. You say
much better. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. So I'll take the answer again. I was saying that that the question is a bit complex because it's good, difficult problem, right, to solve. And if we start from the very fundamental, what is a problem, right? A problem can be, a fundamental failure or a pain or an inefficiency that affects a lot of people, a few or a lot of people. A complex problem can be one that, you don't have access or knowledge or domain expertise or the insights and resources to solve or to tackle, or where there is a requirement for change, a huge requirement for change. So a lot of people have to change their behavior, or there has to be, a change in government policy. Those could be complex problems to solve. But I would say, if you're going to solve a complex problem, if you're going to choose a difficult, complex problem to solve, it should be one that is good for a lot of people. In other words, it positively impacts a lot of people and improves the lives of a lot of people. And secondly, I would not solve a complex problem that doesn't create financial value for me or for all of us, all problem solvers together. So that's what I think. What do you think, Selma?
I love this. I love this discussion. It's like, yes, I think every problem is good to solve, but is it going to be big enough, and scalable? Is your solution going to be scalable enough for you to monetize it? I absolutely agree here with Richmond. It's always important to pick one that you can solve and monetize, because like that, you will build a sustainable value, sustainable business for you as an entrepreneur, and sustainable for your customers who are seeing value. So if we look in history, the big problems have been changing, and they either come because, they've been there and suddenly there was a big change in consumer behavior, in the way people live, right? Suddenly, in last century, 20th century, suddenly women entered the workforce. Childcare became a big problem to solve. Another one is now we're seeing climate change. Awareness is coming there. More people are switching to vegan diet. What can we do? We have innovation in form of lab-grown meat coming over. Is it regulatory shift that's happening? Suddenly, the regulator will say, everybody must have, I'm going to be ridiculous here, pet insurance from tomorrow. Enormous opportunity, be the first one to launch an pet, a sustainable pet insurance, you're going to be cashing in. So being at the at the cusp of those trends and understanding where the world is heading in terms of consumer needs, regulatory openings, is what tells you, there is a problem to solve. And this problem is going to have a lot of customers. Now, the second part of the question is then how you're going to approach it.
Well, that kind of what Selma said kind of just ties into the next question. So Richmond, I'll take you again. How did you know that there was a market for the solution you were offering? And how did you know you were the right person to build the solution?
How did I know there was a market for it? I think before us, there was no one that was solving for real-time access to the global capital markets from Africa, from Nigeria. I had the problem, my co-founder had the problem, my friends had the problem, my parents had the problem. I did some research, I found out that about 20 million Nigerians, at least 20 million Nigerians had the problem. So it was clear that there was a market for, if I was going to tackle solving access to options, to wealth, to the global capital markets, to options that can help people grow their wealth. And I think that, generally speaking, if a problem jumps at you enough times, and you think that you can collaborate the resources, the insights, and the access to go after solving the problem, then you can. And that's what we did. We thought that we could, it jumped at us enough times for us to think, you know what, we're going to solve this and we're going to dedicate time to doing it. And there was a market for it. And that's how we got started.
Okay. All right. So Selma, this question is for you. You built, scaled, and sold Libara Money. From your experience as a founder and now as an investor with Ovo Capital, what challenges do founders commonly encounter when starting out with solving difficult problems?
I think, also like I really relate to Richmond's story, the problem is everywhere. And so when I started Libara Money, this was a product in London that served underbanked migrants. So I was a migrant myself. I'm not from the UK. I arrived there with a job and started working and needed to send money to different countries in Europe, but also outside of Europe. And in the UK, I saw other communities. You know, the largest migrant communities in the UK are Nigeria, Poland, and India. And these, you know, 3 different parts of the world, large communities, 1 million plus each, wanting to send money back home. And they were struggling with high fees, intransparent fees, fluctuating FX. And also in the time when I launched, it was not exactly a popular word, migrant in the UK. Suddenly there was all talks about Brexit, 10 years of talking, you know, we need less migration, etc. So I was in a very unpopular place serving the unpopular segment that has a real need that is underserved. So I was like, that's great. That's exactly what I want to do. So I built a remittance business that enabled Nigerians, Polish, Indians, and many other communities send money back to their countries. And on top of everything, because there was Brexit and the pound was extremely volatile, you know, it was going up and down. I mean, Naira is also a volatile currency. You understand the impact of that, right? People were like nervous every month. How many rupees is my auntie gonna get in India, you know, out of my 300 pounds that I send every month, right? So we built a product all around that, giving the customer the maximum possible control over FX. So we built a product around rate alerts. We launched with something that was super innovative. It was called Like It, Lock It. It allowed the customer to lock the best FX rate in a month and execute on payday. It was a huge success. It's just a proof, you know, if you go to unpopular market with an underserved need and you provide real value, you understand what bothers them, and you go and you attack it with a solution, you will have a hockey stick growth. So this is what happened to us. And, you know, we sold the business after 2 years. And this is when I went to investing. So pretty much I've been investing in fintech and regtech across Europe and Africa. And basically always, I love founders that come with real problems, you know, big problems that few others are solving, the problems that might be taboo, the problems that might be extremely complex. There is a regulatory aspect which always complicates things, right? You want to be compliant, you want to be in the right place, but at the same time, you want to solve the problem. So you have to have a solution that marries the two. And we love that. With Ovo Capital, you know, me personally, I invested in Bamboo, and I definitely think Richmond is the right person for the job to solve the problem that Bamboo does. But also, like all the other founders in the portfolio are exactly this. You know, they take a difficult problem, they don't give up, they create a solution, and this is exactly what we're looking for.
I must say,
go ahead.
Because I lived in the UK for a few years. Lebara is what every Nigerian uses. And to you know, I didn't know that you founded Lebara until we were preparing for the session. And I said, oh wow, so you're the one responsible for helping every student, you know, every broke student in the UK that wanted to be able to call home, you know, to use Lebara.
To be very precise, I built the fintech arm of Lebara.
Yeah.
Telco already existed, and I built the fintech arm, and we started doing remittances.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really, really impressive. So Richmond, this question is for you and also Selma as well. What are some of the questions you believe people should ask themselves before taking action when they spot a new business opportunity? So before, like, you know, the future entrepreneur, you know, the future CEO jumps at that thing, what questions should they answer? What should they do before they really jump into that opportunity?
I think the first question you should ask is, how do I make money? That's the first question. How do I make money, and how much can I make? Can I build $100 million business doing this? And what's the path to getting there? I don't think that a business is a business if it doesn't make money or generate revenue. Once you're clear that you can build a business around solving a problem that you have spotted, then you begin to, you know, think about, okay, what are current substitutes? You know, what do people use now? Are there competitors that I should be concerned about? If they are, how do I differentiate? What is unique about what I can offer? And if all this is clear to you, then what's next? What do I need to be successful? Do I need some domain expertise? Do I have it? If I don't have it, how do I get it? Do I need some legal advice? Do I need to fundraise? Do I need to set up a team? If I do need to set up a team, what is the smallest, leanest team that I can put together that will produce the largest output for us to get started? How do I find my users? So those questions begin to roll in. But what's important is that you take this giant problem and you break it down into components, small components of things you can tackle and get small wins. Because complex problems, difficult problems can be very daunting. But when you break them down into components of things you can tackle and win and then move to the next thing, then it becomes easier. But yeah, I would say, first of all, figure out, how do I make money? Can I make money doing this? If yes, how do I do it? You can figure out the path to your first $100 million. How do I do that? Maybe, am I going to sell something of $100 to 1 million people? Or how does this work? Once you can figure that out, then you begin to think about how to put together your solution. How do you differentiate your solution? Who are your competitors? If there are any. If there's none, that's great. And what's unique that you can offer, and then begin to put the pieces together.
Selma, I see you nodding a lot. Do you agree with what he has to say?
No, absolutely. It's a great download for all aspiring and current entrepreneurs out there. Richmond can write the entrepreneurship 0 to 1 guideline. I agree with everything he said. It's really, I think it's really about define a problem, look at why is this big pain point for the customer, create a solution, and then find a minimum resources to go, like a minimum viable product and a minimum team to go and test that, gather that data. Do they like it? Do they don't like it? They're willing to pay, how much they're willing to pay. They're missing something, tweak, go back, improve your also a return on investment and keep going, right? It's always test and learn, constant test and learn. But there is one question that others, often we ask, ourselves when we're going to build a new business, and even with OVO Capital is the new fund that I'm building now. So it's also an entrepreneurial project, right? I'm an VC investor, but I'm an entrepreneur because I'm building a fund from scratch. So when I went to this project, I asked myself from day one, do I have what it takes and, to raise money? Because you are raising money from other investors, and you go to them and you tell them, invest in my fund because you believe that I am the right person to invest money on your behalf. It's a very complicated sell. It requires a lot of trust. It requires a lot of convincing. So you have to have a track record investing, show, look, I invested in those 10 companies, they're all doing well. You have to have a team, so you need to build a team. All of these are kind of the building blocks, but I asked myself also, do I have an unfair advantage of any sort versus others doing this job? And that's kind of a very important question. Now, this unfair advantage can be your access to information. It can be your knowledge of the regulatory environment or the trends that are coming, so you can be a first mover. Or in my case, I said, well, in this world of VC investors, there are very few who are ex-entrepreneurs. Me being an entrepreneur, having built a fintech business, I have an unfair advantage because I can pick companies better and I can help them grow better because of my experience. So this is really one that should keep on coming back. What is my unfair advantage and how do I build it? Maybe unfair advantage sometimes can be built over time. You have businesses that build a distribution network that becomes their unfair advantage. I worked for M-Pesa before in Kenya in early days, and M-Pesa started, it was difficult. You need to invest in the agent network that exchanges cash with electronic money, etc. So it required 3 years of a lot of investment. But eventually, when this distribution network, this agent network became profitable and sustainable, this became its unfair advantage in the market. They suddenly have the biggest distribution network than anybody else, than Western Union, than any bank, than anybody in the country to distribute and collect cash and distribute electronic money. So think about it. What unfair advantage I have now? What unfair advantage can I build over time? What will be that asset, strategic asset, which will protect me, my market share long-term against competitors and new entrants?
I really like that point about looking for your unfair advantage. I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to really think about the unfair advantage they have. So Richmond, this last question is for you. What is one company you wish you started and why?
Oh my goodness, Amazon. Amazon. Amazon, because Amazon is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's one of the most remarkable companies that have been started in human history. And their ability to stay almost constantly in startup mode, where they are, launching very successful product lines, very successful verticals, and yeah, my pick is Amazon. Any day, anytime. I wish I was the founder of Amazon.
Don't we all? Don't we all wish to be Amazon?
Yeah.
We all. So Selma, this question is for you. What is one company solving a difficult problem you wish you invested in and why?
No, I want to answer the previous one.
Okay, fine. You can answer that one as well.
Because I'm an entrepreneur at the end, like I'm thinking there is one thing, I'm a little bit of a nerd, so like I am so impressed with those people that kind of connect what already exists on two sides and put it together and make it work. And I tell myself, I wish I saw that and did that, So I think two companies come to my mind. Airbnb, like you saw that there were all these assets, real estate assets that people had that are there, that are like laying idle. And there was this need for a different holiday to compete with hotels to challenge that tourism environment. And you put the two together and it's like, wow, I'm like, why I didn't think about that, Or another company, which I really, really like, and I'm not sure they are yet at scale and profitable. I don't have that insight, but it's called Was 3 Words. I don't know if you heard of them.
Never heard of them.
We have the address problem in the world, right? Even in Europe, we have addresses and we have Google Maps, but they're never 100% precise. And then when we come to Africa, here in Tunisia or Nigeria or Kenya, the addresses are far from precise, right? We have like a name of a street. Sometimes we have the number, but it doesn't really lay where it does, and etc. So this company took the whole world and split it into squares that are 3 meter by 3 meter. And to each square, 3 meter by 3 meter. So, gave 3 words, a unique combination of 3 words that point exactly to it. Oh. So your address becomes 3 words. Melon, juice, crane. I don't know, road, a house, whatever, right? So, and then they have it in different languages. So now they're deploying, yeah, go ahead.
Are they making money?
I'm not sure. I think they scaled because they raised significant money. They are live in few African countries, mostly for tourism sector, I believe. Then they have application for mobility because a driver pickup, Uber, Bolt, etc. This is a use case. It's never precise. You're always upset because your driver is on the other side and you're calling the guy, right? So they're resolving that. Yeah. Then they're resolving also in case of disasters, right? How do you precisely, or somebody avalanche or earthquake or whatever, how do you pinpoint person's location exactly? So they, so they have several applications and they're monetizing, but whether they, this is the slow burner, right? It's not going to be profitable overnight, but if they continue being funded and scaling, they're going to become the solution.
Yeah.
the solution for the future. And then this is the strategic advantage, the unfair advantage you build over time that it's hard to lose, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting business. I definitely have to go and Google them and see what they do, and get some insight into them. So, Selma, this is your last question. What is one company solving a difficult problem you wish you had invested in, and why? So, from an investor point of view, what company would you like to have a stake in?
I think in one of those like lab grown meat, if I was one of the first and I put a ticket, I would have loved that, because I think it's going to be a game changer long term. Beyond meat or like this, I think this is but it's like wishing what you can't have, right? My tickets are small. And this is a very capital intense business, but sometimes I wish I had like large capital to do those long-term bets.
Okay, so we're about to play a game called Toss and Keep, but before we begin the game, if you have a question, please put them in the Q&A section. If you leave them in the chats, it'll get lost, so please put them in the Q&A section. We're going to play a quick game, then we'll get to the questions at the end. So for our panelists, this game is called Toss or Keep. I'm going to mention a stock, and then you tell me if you're going to keep it in your portfolio or toss it away. And you could also give us a reason why you want to keep that stock or you want to toss that stock. So the first stock of toss and keep is Tesla. Richmond, would you keep or toss Tesla?
Definitely keep. Definitely keep. I think that renewable energy in the future, renewable energy would replace carbon emissions, carbon energy, carbon-based intensive energy. I think that, especially for consumption. I also think that governments globally will continue to try to or obsess over reducing the carbon footprints to help improve health and environmental factors. I think that Tesla as well would be importantly or continue to be importantly relevant to all of this. I do not see, I believe in Elon's vision for that future, and I think that it's going to happen. So I would definitely keep Tesla.
Selma, do you agree? Also keep Tesla.
I say agree, but I see Elon as a bit of a potential hazard. He's quite erratic. This is a scaled company. This is great. It's great to have Elon from 0 to X million, right? But after X million, you're starting to play the big game. And the big game is corporations, complicated investors, compliance, governance, best decision-making. And the big game, Tesla is there now, right? A big game, you need a pragmatic and diplomatic CEO. He's not diplomatic, So Elon's great. Why don't we give Elon like a job, which is like chief innovation officer, to keep on innovating and solving hard problems? But let's give the investor relations and the management of the core business to a diplomatic person. That's just one take.
So would you keep a toss?
Keep, because this will get resolved.
Keep. Okay.
Eventually.
The next stock we have is Bank of America. Selma, will you keep or will you toss?
Toss.
Why?
Just like old, slow mover. Maybe I prefer fintechs to disrupt this space a bit more. I would put my money elsewhere. It's about opportunity cost.
Okay. All right. Richmond,
I mean, I would keep Bank of America. I like bank stocks. I think it's essential service. I think that central banks would always support banks. I think Bank of America is particularly, I have it in my portfolio. I think over the last 5 years, it's been growing. I think it will continue to grow, especially in America. I would keep it.
Okay. All right. Airbnb, keep or toss. I think I already know Selma's. stand on this. But
Keep.
Keep as well. Keep as well.
Keep. I mean, this is like, you know, the travel is changing, the tourism is changing. Airbnb will stay.
I think there's a lot of growth potential in Airbnb as well, especially with like rental. I think they're going into like yearly rentals soon. I think, you know, over the next few years, they would continue to do that, and that would be a huge game changer.
Okay, so next stock, New York Times, keep or toss?
Toss.
Yeah, I wouldn't put, there are toss, yeah. Opportunity cost is high, you know, there are so many other things, you know.
Yeah, no.
But having said that, they are a brand name that will probably stay, right? They are like your go-to place, but it's hard. It's a bit sad because journalism is important, but it's reinventing itself. It's coming in different forms.
Yeah, I think people are going for their news in different places. I don't know how the future looks like with New York Times. I think they would have to do an incredible amount of work to keep people's attention and to keep that juice that they've always had. But I just don't know how they would do it. So I don't have confidence that they will continuously into the future. So I wouldn't buy New York Times.
Okay, so next stock, I think is a very interesting one, Coinbase, keep or toss?
I will keep Coinbase. I would keep Coinbase because I don't think cryptocurrency is going anywhere. And I think that Coinbase would continue to lead, you know, in cryptocurrencies, transaction volumes, users. So yeah, I will keep Coinbase because I just don't think crypto is going anywhere. I had a perspective yesterday from some of the panelists that said they wouldn't buy Coinbase, that if they wanted crypto exposure, they'll just go ahead and buy crypto. But yeah, I just think that somebody, apart from the crypto itself, that there needs to be companies that are working on it, improving it, innovating, on the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I will keep Coinbase.
I stay away from crypto. Now, it's a bit how to say, maybe it's a bit dogmatic. So from my side, but I think Coinbase is a good company because I agree with what Richmond said, they will continue making the market. And there is somebody who puts the organization into this whole mess of different currencies, different participants, etc. for sure. So maybe it's a keep, but my personal view is that I believe that crypto itself, the way it started with Bitcoin, is an algorithm that doesn't have the long-term sustainability. There is a formula at the core of it which indicates that it's a bubble and there will be bubbles. So I tend to stick to the real value. However, I believe that there is real value in crypto and blockchain, and that is on B2B side to improve flows of money globally, to improve, and different flows between large players, banks, to improve interoperability, to improve international flows of money. There are so many uses. But on B2C side, I stayed away ever since, and I've been in fintech for more than 10 years now. Never went in as a consumer.
All right, so one last stock, GameStop. It's been in the news a lot. Would you keep or toss?
Toss. Not sure about that.
Nobody's sure about GameStop. Why would you toss?
Like it was just a volatile stock. I think for many years it was flatlining, and then there was a lot of sentiment around the GameStop, what happened with GameStop, especially around millennials that grew up with GameStop and benefiting from the company itself. But as a stock to make me money, to put my money behind, I'm not going to buy it. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah. personally. That's my personal view.
I have to say that I also, another thing that I don't do is gaming. So, you know, it's also a little bit like this industry makes a lot of money, but I'm not an expert enough because I never really got hooked on it, nor had a perspective of a user. So I never ended up investing. So I wouldn't buy, no, but for different reasons.
Okay. All right. So we
I
have
have
a
a
couple
stock that I like, but not GameStop.
What did you say?
I said I have a different gaming stock that I like, but not GameStop.
Which one? Tell us.
Roblox. Roblox.
Why? What do they do?
I mean, they have an incredible user base, and a fantastic monetization model, and they've been growing and making a lot of money for many years, almost silently, and I think that they are going to own gaming into the future. So I have Roblox on my portfolio. I have a buddy that works there, so I know some of what goes on in there.
Very good.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions from the audience. But the first question is actually not going to be a question we'll answer here. Somebody asked, what stocks do you think is still a good catch for a startup investor? I want this person and everybody to know that we're going to be having a session tomorrow dedicated, and actually we're having a session today dedicated to picking high growth stocks for wealth. And also we're having a session tomorrow about picking your first stock. So if you're interested in learning about how to pick your first stock or how to pick good growth stocks, please sign up for our sessions happening today and happening tomorrow. So the first question that we're having here is, please, how did you choose the teams that worked on you when you were building your idea? So Richmond, you can take that one. How did you decide or choose the teams that worked with you as you created your idea?
We optimized for problem solvers, for people that were very obsessed with solving problems, and people that were obsessed with no bullshitting, because there's a lot of people that, you know, like to talk, like to theorize, like to be executive in their approach to problem solving, and talk and talk and talk, and, you know, the consultant type personality. But that doesn't help didn't help. We didn't think it would help us when we're getting started. We wanted people that were aggressively going to face a problem, find a solution, and come back with results. Because starting a company, there is a lot of moving parts, and it's almost very difficult to manage at the same time. So you need people that can own things completely, and at the core of their personalities are original thinkers and problem solvers, and not people that look for excuses and blockers as to why something cannot work. Yes, we are trying to solve it because it cannot work. It's like, it doesn't exist. If it did exist, then we shouldn't be here. So don't come back to say to me, you know, the problem, I already know. Come back with the solution. Let us, if you have a difficulty, you can come, let's put our heads together. We are very smart, intelligent people, so we can find solutions to problems. So yeah, starting out at Bamboo, that's what we optimized for. We optimize for people that are very transparent and direct with their feedback, giving feedback. We optimized for people that had high integrity, because it was going to be financial services and we're going to be handling people's money. So and that was something that was very hard for us to figure out. Like, how do you know somebody is not doesn't have problems? Yeah. So, but those were all the things that we were looking for when hiring the first set of team, and that's what makes up the DNA of the company today. If you work at Bamboo, you would know that, you know, we are very aggressive people. We're very focused problem solvers. We liked our results and to speak for us. We like our, you know, the things we've done to speak for us, rather than, you know, talking a lot about what we are going to do.
Okay. So Selma, do you have any inputs on that? How did you choose the teams that worked with you when you were building your ideas? Absolutely.
I cannot agree with more. Like, you know, if you're a no person, you know, you don't belong here. You're like, I couldn't stand hearing it. No, that's not possible, is a sentence that does not exist in the entrepreneurship world. Like, it's just, it's a sentence that by nature irritates me. It gives me goosebumps. When somebody tells me something's not possible, I'm going to try to put maximum of my effort and my mental energy and my contacts and call and find a way how it can become possible. So
Yeah.
absolutely, you need to surround yourself with people with this kind of attitude. Now on skills, for me, it was quite important to have a different a range of skills and different range of personalities, and create forums in which all of these different functional expertise, you know, person who's more quant and finance, person who's more data and marketing, person who's more you know, a hustler, a sales, fixer, you know, who's going to pull people together and make it happen. So, and then creating forums on how these people can work together. And as the company scaled, I'd say post Series A, it became quite important to get a consultant, strategic consultant mindset, but in a positive way, because I had then needed really the right hand, right? I needed the right hand to help me organize now a growing team, to help us look at defined KPIs, to structure things and to understand, you know, what should we be tracking? Are we tracking it in the right way? Is the calculation done correctly? We're tracking our growth, we're tracking our unit economics, we're tracking our return on investment. It was very important then to organize and divide, still giving people their own space, their own ownership, but putting a bit of a structure that helped the management, the senior manager, have a better overview and make better decisions. So yeah, this is how it kind of evolves over time.
All right, so this question is for you. How did you raise funds knowing you were treading an unfamiliar path?
Who, me?
No, Selma. I said this was.
How did I raise funds? I raised funds a little bit differently. I raised funds only from one investor for my startup, because I was convinced that I want to build a solution for migrants in the UK. And I was convinced that I am better off if I partner with Labara, if I take a brand that already has this customer base. So I went to the owners, who were three Sri Lankan guys, Sri Lankan origin, but British, migrants themselves who built this business. And I pitched it to them and they gave me the budget and everything, and I built this from scratch. Oh. So it was a bit of an audacious, you know, step in. Hey, I'm here, I'm going to build this for you. This is how it's going to work. This is how much it's going to cost. Are you willing to incubate this? And they put their personal money and enabled me to go from 0 to 1.
That's great to hear. So that just means you don't have to because I feel like the person asked this question because they were looking for because they probably had an unfamiliar idea and you're like, how are we going to get funding? But since you have been able to, you know, you went straight for it. I think that's just the advice. Everybody should just go straight.
Yeah, but there is advantages and disadvantages of this path.
Of course.
So the disadvantage was that then they were making strategic decisions. They had majority say. If I had several VCs around the table and me myself retaining majority, then it would be more of a forum. So for example, they decided to sell earlier than I would have. It was still a good return for everybody, but I would have scaled the company further.
Okay, great insight.
Add to that, I think it's important to figure out wins, because when solving complex problems, especially difficult problems, conviction building is an important thing. Conviction building for yourself, for your team, and before you start bringing in investors. So it's important to have small wins that can demonstrate that this thing is going to work, right?
Yes.
And that's what can give confidence. So if you go to people, number one, go to people that maybe share the same problem. For Bamboo, our first set of investors were people that agreed with us that this is a problem to solve. And yeah, and then we were able to show and demonstrate small wins that give them comfort to invest their money. And before that, it's important that the founders have the skills to tackle the first set of problems that you want to solve, so that you don't need money to get started. you might just need you spending your time, maybe time after work or time at night to put together, to solve the first basic types of problems that you need to solve to get those wins and start building conviction with yourself and with external third parties.
Okay, so last question. I think you've already answered a little bit of it, Richmond, but I'm just going to say it again. How do you raise money to fund a new business or drive your idea? How do you get investors to bring money for capital when you're just starting out? So I feel like that's just the same question, which is, how do you get people to invest when you're starting out?
Absolutely. I can just add, like, I think it's a numbers game often. So you go to as many and pitch as many people as possible. Don't get like low spirits because some said no, because this other guy or girl is not replying. Just keep on pitching more and more. It's a numbers game. And then what Richmond said is gold. Small wins. Whenever you have a small win, write to everybody you spoke to that you reach this small win. And then again, and then again.
Let me drop some numbers. When we're raising our seed round, I spoke to over 150 investors, and more than half of them told me no. Just some numbers. Yeah.
They missed out.
They missed out.
They missed out.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's session for the Bamboo Bootcamp. Thank you so much, Richmond. Thank you so much, Selma, for joining us. Thank you so much to the attendees for joining us today as well. Please don't forget, we're running 2 very exciting campaigns. If you trade this week during the Bamboo Bootcamp, you have the chance of winning either $2,000, $1,000, or $500. So the more you trade, the more opportunity for you to win. And also, if you make your first deposit into your Bamboo account, Bamboo wallet, you stand a chance of winning a gift box from Bamboo. So get trading, get depositing. Thank you so much once again to everybody. Thank you so much, Richmond. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, sharing your knowledge. Thank you so, so much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, guys. Keep investing.
Bye.
Best of luck.
All right, thank you. Bye.